In this episode of Keep Dreaming Garage, we're going to show you how to install an adjustable short throw shifter, and today we're going to be working on our 07 STI. My name is Andy, and let's get started. I've been itching to work on this car because we've been doing a lot of work behind the scenes on another project car that we got, and here's a sneak preview of what we've been doing. You will be seeing that car on the channel very soon, but for now, let's do something to the 07 STI. And what I want to do is install an adjustable short throw shifter. I'm pretty sure this car has one already, but I just want to change it up to one that I got. We got this one, it's an aftermarket one. You can adjust the bottom of it and the top of it. And I got this used because I'm poor, because I have these cars. We're gonna install this in the car and we're going to show you how to do it. So the tools you're going to need are actually pretty straightforward. Obviously, you're going to need your new short throw shifter. I got a couple Allen keys right here because that's how you're able to adjust the new shifter. We have a selection of wrenches, so I'm using two 12 mils. You might need 13 mils. And then we have a ratchet with a 12 mil socket. We need a little hammer, and of course, we need grease. So not to interrupt myself, but I forgot to mention a couple tools you're going to need. So you're going to need some zip tie cutters. You're going to need one zip tie, a Phillips screwdriver, a small punch, and we're going to need some snap ring pliers. Hopefully yours aren't as janky as mine, but hopefully these will get the job done. The holidays are finally here and we have something very special available on our shop right now. And we have a Christmas clearance section available where everything is 15% off. We have some very cool Christmas designs. There's 3 versions of them. And we have hoodies, shirts, sweatshirts. Go to the link in the description and get yourself your own. Now, back to the shifter. First things first, we're going to get in the car. I'm already in the car, and we're going to take the shift knob out right here, and we're going to pop out this trim because we need to disconnect it from the top, from the pivot bushing, before we can do anything else. Generally, Subaru interiors are pretty easy to work with. Mine has a little connector in here that I'm gonna take out, and then this bezel should be free, and then comes out just like this. Super simple. Here it is. So we have access to our shifter now. So if you have an STI or a 6-speed in general, you're going to have this right here, this little ring. This is called a reverse lockout. And for STIs, you lift it up and you put it in reverse. And what I like to do is I like to leave it in 5th gear, so then I can use a tiny Allen or a little punch to punch this roll pin out. But before you do that, before your reverse lockout cable just falls straight through, you're going to have to get underneath the car. This is the most effort you're going to have to put in. Everything else is pretty smooth sailing. So let me show you what to do when you're underneath the car. Once you're underneath your car, you'll spot your O2 sensor wire plug right at the back of the transmission, and just above that is what we're looking for. You're going to take an Allen key and basically put it straight through that little piece of metal that swivels forwards and backwards, and you're going to thread it into the transmission, and this is going to hold your reverse lockout pin in place on top inside your car. Eagle-eyed viewers will notice that I have some shirts on my seat, and that's to protect my really nice and clean interior from my dirty hoodie from laying on the ground. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to use my itty-bitty little hammer, and we're going to line it up with the reverse lockout roll pin right here. Anytime the UPS guy comes by, we're always working on cars, and he's like, is it time to go EV yet? Is it time to go buy an EV? And I told him no, absolutely not. This is either going to be really easy for you or really annoying, also depending on how much you care, because this little thing keeps slipping. You can get a punch with a little roll pin attachment, and it has a little nub coming out of it, and it sits in the roll pin, so it makes it easier to punch out. This is what I have, so this is what I'm going to use to try and get this out, but this is pretty annoying, so take your time with it. So with the roll pin punched out, we got the little reverse lockout thing out. One thing that you can do is a lot of the times on the STIs especially, this little plastic silver piece separates because the glue that they use isn't very good. You can use this opportunity to paint it. I am crazy, so I already painted mine, so mine's nice and clean. That's why I was being really careful, but at the end we did end up using a little punch, in the smallest punch that I could find, rather than the Allen, because the Allen just didn't have the oomph. So we did end up using a punch. So we got this out. Now the next step is to get this pivot bushing out. So to do that, these are two 12s. We're going to undo these two, and then this will release the shifter. So we got our two 12mm wrenches, and what we're going to do is we're going to release the shifter from the rest of the shifter assembly. And after that, we're going to use a pair of zip tie cutters to cut the zip tie that's holding the reverse lockout to our shifter. Just like that. There's one other step. Even though it's loose, we still have to do one more thing to get it out of the cup bushing where it sits, and we're going to use snap ring pliers to basically remove the snap ring and release the shifter from the little cup bushing, which I also forgot. So I'm gonna have to film this again and show you, here are the other tools you're gonna need, because I forgot. Using your really janky snap ring pliers that are, you know, that just separate, we're going to try and get this little snap ring out, and this is also an annoying job. It's just really fiddly, so let's see if I can even get that in there. It's really hard to get the camera in here. I can't even get the tool in there. I re-engineered these, so now they don't fall. All right, so I have a problem. I'm trying to see down there. However, my big-ass head is eclipsing the light. So when I look down here, I can't see what I'm doing, and I guess this is where a headlamp would come in handy, but I'm getting to the point where I've gotten in and out of the car and I'm getting annoyed. So we're just gonna go for it. So my ghetto fab engineering is failing, but we did get the snap ring out, so that's good. Let me just get this out. Just get this out of the way. And you're gonna have to take my word for it. It's out. So we just push. Okay. So this is a visual representation. I meant to do that, by the way. This is a visual representation of what your reverse lockout cable looks like. So here it is. You pull this, and this is what's being held on with that Allen underneath the car. This is what the roll pin goes through. And here is our shifter. This shifter causes this shifter mechanism to hit this like OEM shroud. This metal piece right here is contacting this, and what that does is, obviously when you're shifting right here, it's interfering. So that's one of the reasons we're swapping out the old short throw that was in the car with a new one, and this is where that cup goes in. That's at the very bottom of that. So let me show you what to do now. Once you've got your shifter assembly on the table, it's actually really easy to swap everything over. The pivot bushings only go in one spot. The plastic cup bushing at the bottom only goes in one spot. So you can take everything apart at once, clean it all up, and swap it over. Depending on how old your car is and if you have worn out parts, you can replace stuff. I already replaced stuff on my car, but here are the part numbers you're going to need. Recently, when I did the shifter on my car, I got all new pieces here. So I got new bushing, new O-rings and stuff, and here are the part numbers. So this is the part number for the bushing. This is the old one right here. These are the two O-rings for the top and bottom of the bushing. The bushing that sits on the bottom of the shifter, that would be down here, this part right here. On the aftermarket ones, it's generally metal. On the OEM one, it's plastic. So I got a replacement for no reason. I have no idea why. Here's the spring pin that goes through this. And then here's the new snap ring, which we might use this. All of these things are optional, especially if you have a newer car. I did it just to refresh my shifter. Now we're changing this short throw shifter for another one, so I'm just going to reuse this. Depending on how dirty your parts are, or if you're reusing them, just give everything a good wipe down, make sure everything is nice and clean. And we're starting with the retainer for your shift boot. Make sure to use grease on all surfaces that are contacting metal to metal, and that's because you don't want any creaking or rattling in the future. This stuff is kind of annoying to grease and work with once it's in the car, so it's best that you do it now. Be generous with the amount of grease that you use and take your time reassembling everything. Once you're done, it should look something like this. So we're in the car now, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a bunch of grease into where this cup sits, just so everything is lubed up and there's no friction ruining our driving experience. Before you put this in, you have to thread the reverse lockout cable through the main part of the shifter right here. So take the reverse lockout cable and thread it through. What I did was I got the reverse lockout threaded in, and so it doesn't fall out while I'm trying to get the shifter into the cup where it sits, I put an Allen through it. Now it's not going to fall out. So you see how it's stuck and it's aligned. Take your time with it, make sure the O-rings stay on, and there you go. Simple as that. You are going to want to put grease on this part as well, but that was actually pretty painless. And I just realized something. I forgot to put the snap ring kind of loosely over it so I could put it on. So I have to take all this apart and I have to put the snap ring back on, and then I can put it all back together. So don't do what I did and have to redo this like me. Yeah. Okay, so we got the snap ring on. Don't do that. That's, yeah, I messed up. I'm making a DIY and I forgot, but don't worry. It's on now. Kind of line this up, put this through, and there you go. And then we put the bolt and nut through. Just put this through just like this. You gotta wiggle this around until it lines up. Okay, that's in. Get the nut in. A lot of this going on. God, when you use grease, it gets so messy, it goes everywhere. What you want to do is when you tighten your pivot bushings down is not to over tighten them. Shifter might bind, so you just want it to be snug. So just one finger. We got the new shifter installed. Now what I'm going to do is, since I got my greasy hands everywhere, I'm going to clean all this like surrounding areas and just wipe all the grease off of everything. Before you take this little Allen out, make sure that you have the reverse lockout little pin underneath the car on the transmission. If you don't, the reverse lockout pin will fall. So I do, because mine fell out and I went underneath and I put it back in. So we're just gonna pull this Allen out. No problems, just like that. And then we're going to slide this over just like that. Don't worry if you have some extra grease. Now you have to take this pin and thread it through this and thread it through the reverse lockout cable at the same time, and hope it all lines up. So this is going to be a little annoying. Take your time with it, get somebody to help you out, but hopefully it's not too much of a pain this time around. Last time it was pretty annoying. We got the reverse lockout little coupler thing in, so we're going to go underneath the car and we're going to remove that little Allen that's holding it in place so the reverse lockout cable doesn't fall. And then we get to put our shift knob on and feel what it feels like. There we go. We got everything cleaned up in here. I'm ready to install the trim back in, but one thing is, since this is an adjustable shifter, we can take an Allen, loosen these two bolts on the side and on the bottom right here, and we can adjust the height of our shifter. I'm going to leave it where it is. I pre-adjusted mine on the table to match the one that was in the car, so I'm going to leave it here and I'm going to drive the car around, see if I want to adjust it. A simple modification like this goes a long way because it's directly connected to the driving experience of the car. Every time you drive the car, you're going to be shifting gears, so this is a great mod to do. So our friends at Overtake sent us their selection of shift knobs, and some of these are brand new, and I told them that I wanted to try it out, and they sent me all of them. So thank you to Overtake for sending us these shift knobs here. What I want to try to do is get a shift knob that feels good. I'm going to try to get it in the same weight range as that STI shift knob that I had because it felt really good. I don't want something that's too heavy. So let's check the weight on these, and let's check the weight on the STI one and see which one of these gets close. When it comes to shift knobs, it's really a personal preference. I'm trying to find one that's close to the STI one that I have in terms of weight. It's nice to change things up once in a while, and that's why I'm using Overtake's shift knobs. I gotta say, I really do like the machining on this. This is a really nice piece, and their laser etch logo is really nice too. But I think I'm going to end up installing this one in the car so it matches the trim. And actually, the 04 STI has its factory shift knob, so I think I'm gonna install this one on that car. So let's go ahead and do that. With the Overtake shift knob installed in the 07 STI, that wraps up our shifter install. For the 04 STI, we replaced its 22-year-old shift knob with Overtake's white Delrin shift knob. And that is how you install an adjustable short throw shifter in your Subaru, and in my opinion, it's one of the best mods that you can make that is affordable, easy to install, and improves the feeling of your car. And in the next episode, we have something really big planned where we reveal our brand new project car. So give us a follow on Instagram at KeepDreamingGarage, follow me at SR71Andy, and we will see you in the next episode. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.
What are you speaking?
Hey, I'm doing what Ron Burgundy does in the beginning of his anchoring. Get him! Get him! Ah! All right, that's it.